Can you hear the pulse of the awakening?
Rondo City. This place is undoubtedly our final paradise. Today is just another day here. Nothing changes for the better in this cradle, which was built amidst the environmental destruction that surrounds our planet. A boring paradise.
Think you lost your memory? Or is it possible that you never had any memories to begin with?
I still don't believe it, but I need to be sure.
I can't remember anything. Without a past, you make no proof I exist.
He says he's a proxy. Fine, I can find out with one shot. If he lives, he's a liar.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to Speaking with the Speaker today. So we're talking about something really cool, really good today. And because it's so complicated and such an in-depth story, this is one I didn't feel like I could do justice to by myself. So I brought in the big guns today. And let's go ahead and just bring him in now. Welcome, everybody, for throw your hands together for Dr. Adega.
Oh, that's a load of baloney. You just didn't like being on camera by yourself.
Well, I usually have my children in here to, take the focus off of me. I mean, so no, we are going to be talking Ergo Proxy today. And this is one that was actually suggested to me by Adega. And so I'm like, all right, I'll go take a look. I took a look at it and was instantly just sucked in and drawn into this story. It is a complicated story. It is a brain twister. I mean, you will watch it the first time and be like, and you've got to go back.
Part of the problem here too is you watch the dubbed. You don't watch the subtitles, so you miss a little bit there. And sometimes it takes you 2 or 3 times to figure it out. Yeah,
and I'm terrible that way. I don't know. I can do sub. I have to have like all my focus has to be like right on the whole time, or else I'm just like I won't miss everything. And
well, you
and
took
I'm a
my
little
advice
scatterbrained, so I'm like, I want to be able to look at the birds, So,
well, you took my advice on this one. Did you go and watch the 4th season for Titan?
I think. I can't remember. I'm a little lost on Attack on Titan. But I think I've seen everything that's out, I think, at this point.
Well, the most recent one is only the subtitles.
Oh,
unless they've gotten the dubbed already.
Then no. Because like you said, I need to do that. But But you also suggested Guilty Crown to me, which I went and watched that.
Guilty Crown, if you guys couldn't figure that out, he's got the sputters going on again.
Oh, I'm sorry. it's my internet. So there's something wrong with either my internet or StreamYards or just me personally. Is it getting any better?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. But yeah, Guilty Crown. That's another one that I want to be doing here in a few weeks. It's just that was another one that I had kind of heard of but hadn't gotten to yet. But when you suggested it, I'm like, all right, it went to the top of the line. So
You see, that's the thing you notice with your type of anime, and that's stuff I like. I mean, I like a lot of what you like, but I tend to go more for the drama than the comedy.
yeah. Yeah, I do a lot. I kind of go back and forth. I have to have a mix, and but I do like the drama, and I like the art style in this one, Ergo Proxy. It's just it reminds me very much of the Animatrix, the animation style. My son, he was watching the intro with me today when I was doing it, and he was just like, "Wow, that animation is a little different." And I'm like, "Yeah," I was like, "It's good, huh?" Because it's very humanistic. I mean, they really, it's not as nearly as cartoonish. It is much more accurate to the human, the way humans look and stuff. Hell, Lady Miss,
there's a way of telling a story with pictures, and there's a way of expressing a mood with pictures. And this one is all about setting emotions and mood. At least I think so.
Yeah, no, I agree totally. Even the scenery and stuff, it makes you feel what the emotion of the moment is going on and stuff. You know, the light changes and even the cloud cover and the different things. You actually almost can feel that, you know, as a tangible thing.
Well, you got your background picture, which is very reminiscent of a lot of it, where you got the foreground, which is a dark anime, and the background, which almost looks like watercolors.
Yeah,
and often in the show, it's that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and then the story is just like I said, it is so complex and complicated. You've really got to be paying attention. This is not just a sit down and I like that about this. I like stories that I really have to focus on, because this is one of those ones I'd be watching with my wife, and she'd be doing something else, and then she'd turn to me and go, "Brian, what is that? What are they talking?" And I'm just like, well, if you were paying attention. And I like to tease her because she watches, you know, things in a very different way than I watch them. I get focused on them and I forget that there's other human beings in the room. So, but which probably isn't a good thing.
No.
Hello, Spartan. How are you doing? But yeah, no, it's so. How long ago was it that you first saw Ergo Proxy? Do you remember?
Oh, geez. It's been quite a few years. I have one of the first things I did was went out and bought the soundtrack. And so I was going through some of these, because we just recently moved, going through one of my boxes, and I found the soundtrack in there. And it just, I should look at the date, but it's been quite a few years. It was probably 2 years or maybe a year. Hey, Lady Miss. After it was done in English.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the first time I saw it was English, and I had to go back and go, you know, let's check it out, what it really means. Because usually I like to do the subtitle first, because you get what they're trying to. I mean, you kind of have to understand Japanese culture a little bit too, because some things don't translate very well.
Yeah.
But it's been a while.
Yeah, this is a new one for me, and I've gone through it 1.5 times. I'm halfway back through it again. And I think you're right. I think I'm going to have to do this in subtitles, because I'm going through it again and still feeling like, man, I'm missing parts. There's something I'm not connecting.
Well, let's go over it.
Just for an announcement, there will be spoilers in this. We are going to talk in depth about this as much as we can. But having said that, even if you have not seen this, trust me, when you go watch this, you will still come away going, Yeah, now I kind of get what he's talking. You will have
right,
to
right.
So I mean, you can get, this is one of these shows you can get something different almost every time you watch it. So if you haven't seen it, don't feel like, oh, I've got to leave now, because trust me, you will have to see it to understand what we're talking about.
This is my number 2 anime. Number 1, and some of you know this. Number 1's Robotech. This is number 2. Number 3 fluctuates for me, whether it be Tokyo Ghoul, which have you ever seen that one?
Yes, I watched it up until they changed is it the first or one of the seasons they changed kind of the art style.
Right.
And I was just
there's a reason for it too. You got to finish it up.
Okay,
you got to finish it up. Fight through it, because you'll be a little confused, but fight through it. But no, this is number 2, and I can't 5-6 times I've watched it all the way through.
Yeah, it is tremendous, and like I said, you'll get something different every time. But anyway, so let's I'll bring up another screen here, and we'll add this in. So because I want to go over each of these main characters. So we've got Vincent Law. He is our main character for this. Right. Let me see if I can get this to open. I don't know if you guys can see
it's kind of debatable between it's him or Riel. So
yeah, they're kind of a joint thing, but I mean, he seems like the story kind of, he's the hub of the wheel. So right. At least that's the way it always appeared to me. But so he is basically what's going on here is this is if you watch the beginning of this thing here, I showed the trailer for Ergo Proxy. The world has suffered a cataclysmic environmental disaster, which was caused by a new energy source that the human race had kind of turned to for power and stuff like that. There was a massive explosion, destroyed most of the earth. And if I'm getting any of this wrong, Adega, you tell me if I've missed something here. But so they have basically retreated inside domed cities. And the
you got most of that wrong.
I did. I did.
Yeah,
I doubt myself.
There was a natural disaster that took out most of Earth, but this was long ago.
Yeah,
and
like thousands of years.
The humans left. These aren't humans that are here. What they are is clones of humans. Like Vincent, that you find out, these proxies over each one of these cities were created by the humans that left to try and reestablish the Earth to be habitable again. That's why you see the birthing chambers.
See,
they don't have natural birth.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the birthing chambers, but I must have missed the part where it taught, because I thought they were just the remnants of the human.
No, you don't find this out till like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, so see, this is what I'm talking about here. I've watched this 1.5 times, and Adega is still able to completely catch me up. That's how good this is. Don't be like, oh, well, it's a confusing one. No, it's just very intricate, very detailed, and they are very good at containing this story till the very end. You get bits and pieces of it, and it's a mystery story that's being pieced together for you as you go through the episodes. It's fantastic that way. If I can get my mouse to go to the right spot here. But anyway, so let me turn my crawl off. That's almost obnoxious.
Who else is here I didn't say hi to? Spartan, hello. There's several people, but they haven't said anything in chat. Yeah, shame on you.
There's some quiet people in the background just hovering. That's okay. We love you. We love you. But no, this, I mean, so we find that they're in this last of the domed cities called Rondo. And we find Vincent Law. And we actually meet Riel first. Riel, I guess I should say, first. She's our first character that you get introduced to. And then you meet Vincent Law later on. So let's bring her up real quick here. Riel Mayer. And that's her. And she's the one you see on the cover for this anime. She's kind of the face of it. And she is an intelligence bureau investigator. and she gets called in because inside these dome cities, or this dome city, they're having a problem with a virus infecting what they call auto raves. Auto raves are basically personalized robots or androids that are assigned to each person inside Rondo. And they also call them entourages, which I thought was just, I'm like, what a cool way to put that. You know, that secondary title for them, because that's absolutely what they are. Everybody has one, and they follow them around, and they become like dependent on these machines, almost to do everything in their lives. Riel can't even do her own hair. that's how how dependent the human race is on the machines that surround them. But what's something that you think or is extremely important about Riel to know?
Well, first off, you can go to like a Bing search or DuckDuckGo or whatever and just look up images of this character. Artwork through the roof of her, and cosplay. This person, the people really have taken to her. She's a jerk. She's an absolute jerk at the beginning. She's got attitude, complete snob, doesn't care about anyone except herself, basically, and her grandfather, who we'll talk about probably in a few minutes. But through the 23 episodes, she softens up and actually starts to waken up a little bit about, she has been a jerk. One of the things later on, she comes back and there's a whole psychological episode, whether she's divided in her mind or someone stuck in her head or what have you, where it comes up where she apologized 3 times in a few minutes, and the people around her were, especially kind of a pseudo, you find out it really wasn't a psychologist in the end, but they say, we know this is not your normal person because you've apologized 3 times. And she would never apologize. She'd as soon, at the beginning, just as soon walk all over you as opposed to give you the time of day, which is interesting because when we're going to talk about Vincent, her relationship with him, first off, is she needs him for information and to do a couple of different things. Other than that, she's just disgusted by him.
Yeah, because he's an immigrant.
What they call, they're in their society. She is one of the high-ranking citizens, but they also have immigrants that come into the dome, and they basically make them clean up the trash, almost literally. Where the citizens do nothing. They're spoiled. They like. Speaker was saying they have these entourages that do everything for them. So it's take a Cortana or a Siri and stick it into an oh geez, I just got my Cortana to pop up. I know. You put them into an android with a high intelligence, and they almost operate autonomously. You're conscious in some regard. They do all your scheduling. Sometimes they even think ahead of your, and it's really sad to see how they're basically almost a zombie society. The only thing that gives Riel a saving grace is her attitude keeps her from becoming dependent.
Yeah, and yet she still becomes dependent in certain ways to the. But I mean, she can program the auto rave. Her auto rave is called Iggy, and she programs it so because it drives her everywhere. She never drives. It's him, and he is like he'll be chattering away like, oh, did you see this? Blah 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 blah, and all of a sudden she'll be like, end application, and he'll just stop. He just stops and goes and becomes all business. So she's got different modes for him depending on how she's feeling, whether she wants somebody to just chat inanely at her. I mean, imagine being able to program your spouse that way. And that's kind of what it is. These things almost become their other half, and which is kind of creepy.
Right.
Dependent on your machine. But yeah, no, it's just and then, like I said, she can't even do her own hair. And then at one point, like Iggy leaves her in the story, and she's like, I don't know how, basically she doesn't know how to do her hair. And other than admit that, she goes around throwing a comb at people, telling them to do her hair, and gets mad at them when they like are like, I don't want to do your hair and stuff. And it's just, you get to kind of see this different, like Adega saying, this different side of her that's starting to come out. But yeah, because when Adega told me go watch this show, I was watching, I think I got about 3 or 4 episodes in, and I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, Riel's kind of a bitch.
Yes.
Like,
yes, she is.
Yes, she is. sorry for the swear word there, but that was the only word that described her. I'm just like, she is kind of a horrible human being. But that's the cool part about this, is that you see her character arc. She actually grows and becomes something different.
Right.
But like you were saying, her attitude is that she hates this perfect society that she lives in. She kind of despises this perfect society while living in it and being, pampered by it and stuff. But like you said, it keeps her from becoming totally dependent on it, is her kind of indifference to it. But yeah, she's just, I don't know. Yeah, she's a piece of work. And then she has this love kind of hate relationship with her grandfather. Let me see if I can't remember his name. It's a Donovo Mayor. And he's basically the benevolent dictator of this society. And she just has this complicated relationship with him because she won't act in the way that he wants her to act. Because, like, it's a controlled society. They don't want people stepping outside the lines. They want them they want them lulled to sleep, and they want them pampered by their robots and stuff, because that's how they keep control. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. Does that sound right to you, Adega?
Yeah, pretty much. Except you learn exactly who he is at the very last of the story as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you want to spoil into it yet, or wait until we get towards that end. But her relationship with him is that she dies to get even a word from him, and he never does. So she basically hates and loves him at the same time, because she admires that he's the ruler, his stoicness, is able to command, but yet hates the fact that he never listens to her. It's an odd relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, and every time she sees him, they walk into this room where there's these large, like, statue, basically machines that are also kind of speaking on his behalf. And so, like, she never really gets to have that one-on-one conversation with him. It's like she's having a conversation through machines. It's like having a conversation through a cell phone with somebody.
Right.
Right. That's the way it always struck me. Is there's this
that's pretty much it
that's been placed between them, and she just wants that connection and can't have it.
Right.
That is, and it is. So it's kind of a sad thing between her and him. So, and then into this, that's when Vincent Law enters, is because she's dealing with these auto raves that are going out of control because of the Kakido. I can't remember how you say it. It's like a Kakido virus.
Kakido virus,
like yeah. And
now you said something. We got to go back to this because it comes into play at the very end of the story, and you're very observant for only watching it once. You said something, and we'll get to it later, that she hates their society almost. Mm-hmm. That is key to the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, yeah, it is. It's so she's having to track down these auto raves, these entourages that have gone out of control because of this virus. This virus enters the auto raves, and it almost an instant transformation to like a religious state. whenever you see an auto rave get infected, and you saw it in the intro, if you watch that, we got weird ads popping up on this other screen. So let me, I'm going to pull that out. But that you see this auto rave drop to her knees, and she's in a praying stance, looking up to the heavens. And I mean, it is a bizarre thing, because you have no idea at first why this is happening, why the auto raves do this when they're infected with the Coquito virus. It's creepy and cool all at the same time. And what is basically happening to them is they're being freed. The auto raves are basically what they term it in the show as being given a soul. They're being given freedom and the choice and the ability to make their own choices.
Self-aware.
Yeah, self-awareness. And so you're watching these awakenings happening, which they kind of talk about in that intro as well, of the androids becoming self-aware, not being held to the programming. Some of them become benevolent, some of them become violent, some of them, I mean, it's just like human beings. There's a spectrum of things that happen to these auto raves once they are infected.
And one of them becomes Pino.
Yeah. And that's how Riel meets Vincent, is because he's sent out to check into these robots to find out if they've been infected, and then to dispose of them or whatever. He's kind of part of the sewage department.
Well, he's one of those immigrants, so he's not technically a citizen. He's working hard to become a citizen, and they all have to do the grunt work. Like I said, take out the trash or take out the infected auto raves.
Yeah, and so that's how she ends up meeting him. And like Adega said, she has this just kind of disdain for him. Like, he's almost a non-entity. She deals with him as much as she has to, and that's it. She gives him no more thought than that. He's a bug on the wall. And so anyway, and we find him, and that's how we get introduced to the next character. Is she's what did they call it? It's a different kind of a companion auto rave, which is basically a comfort thing. You know, they're not really meant to be doctors. They're not really meant to be assistants. They're just there to make you feel good, basically.
They're like a family member. And Pino actually is a child that was assigned to, and I can't remember his name,
it's Paul Creed.
The security officer. Raul Creed, that was his supposed daughter, but of course they're all clones, so granddaughter is a clone, not necessarily a real genetic actual daughter or granddaughter. But Pino is one. You have to petition the government, say this is the reason why we want the companion auto rave, and he got one. I got Pino, and she got infected, so she became self-aware and decided to go for a hike.
I mean, yeah, because this family just got a baby, you know, like you were saying, and so she's kind of there to help take care of the baby, kind of there to just, you know, and stuff. So, and the woman's freaking out that she might be infected with the disease, but Vincent says, no, she doesn't have it, but she does. But somehow, you know, he misses the fact that she actually has it. But she becomes self-aware. The baby and the wife get killed in an attack in like a mall when two of the proxies show up. And we'll get into a little bit more about the proxies, but there's an incident, and both the infant and the wife are killed in this incident. And that's when Pino, if she wasn't already infected, definitely becomes infected at that moment, because she's there when this is happening. And there's another auto rave that is infected, and she's the one I was telling you, you know, drops to her knees and starts praying, and or you could almost say being thankful for being freed.
Right.
But and Pino just becomes this kind of a fun little character. It's like Pinocchio becoming a real boy. It's that kind of a story for her. At least that's the way
it's
it always
seems. It's a little 6-year-old that just always why?
Yeah.
Little 6-year-old.
It's just, And she'll be in these bunny suits, and I mean, she just is this cute little, and like Vincent's at one point asking her to help pick up some sticks for firewood, and she's just like, I'm reading a book. She just doesn't care, and it is really funny. But I mean, so she's a serious character, but she's also kind of that warm, fuzzy character that makes you feel like this world might be okay. He keeps you from like spiraling
if there's comic relief.
Oh, Lady Miss says why. No, I'm not sure what she's asking why about.
Oh no, the little 6-year-olds. Why this? Why that?
Oh yes,
why?
Okay. Sorry, lady. It's Sunday and my
especially when it comes to death.
Yes. Yep.
That's the one that she had a hard time with all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she struggles with different concepts, and yeah, it is just I don't know. So there's so many, but these are the three main characters: is Vincent Law, Riel, and Pino. They're the ones that are right, kind of in the thick of things. And as the story goes on, they kind of get drawn. Like I said, they're not even remotely close at the beginning, and as the story goes on, they just are constantly drawn together into basically a group of three. I was going to say threesome, but that term's been ruined now. So, but it's but yeah, being a smart. Yeah, sorry, Lady Miss. Yes. No, you're not. It's fine. We love you. But we also meet Iggy, which is as I said, it's Riel's entourage. We also meet Raul Creed. He is the husband of the woman who's killed, and he's like the main chief security officer for Rondo, directly under Riel's grandfather, and answerable directly to him. And then we also have Christiva, which is his entourage, which is Raul Creed's entourage. I loved her character for some reason in this. She is all business. She is all just, and I love that about her. In fact, when Raul Creed kind of becomes partially incapacitated during the series, she steps in and kind of takes over, but not really, because that's one thing about the Auto Raves. They are fiercely loyal to their owner. Their whole they have this phrase they keep using called raison d'etre, I think is how it's said. Raison d'etre, which is reason for living, basically.
Yep.
And that's what these auto raves live to serve, live to be there for their masters. And so, I mean, that's what she does. She basically makes it look like she's taking control from him, but not really. She's just holding the place for him because she thinks he's right, and waits for him to come back into the picture. So she is awesome. We also have Daedalus, which I liked his character. He's like Riel's little brother, but not, because he likes Riel.
Daedalus.
He digs, but she sees him as a little brother, but that's not how he sees her. It's that classic, unrequited love kind of a thing going on throughout the whole series. But she's also his doctor.
He just seems like a little sick pervert to me.
Yeah, he's a little sick pervert. Well, he's definitely obsessed with her, but he's also. I also got like Dr. Mangala vibes from him, because he's researching the proxies. He's trying to figure out how to kill the proxies. It's all science with him. He doesn't care what goes on as long as he gets to play with his toys. At least that's how I kind of saw him. I don't know.
No, what do you? Too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got those vibes from him, but it just seemed like there was a part of him that did that way. And then we've got Riel's grandfather, Donovo, Mayer, which really don't learn. He's just kind of a shadow figure in the background. And maybe I don't know. Do you feel like you got more from him than that?
If you want to jump to the end of the story, because this is the only time that you really get anything from him, you find out the big picture and how he fit in and why he is where he is.
Well, and
Basically,
we're not doing this in any order. So, I mean, just go wherever you want to go.
Well, basically, each one of these cities, and they're all starting to fail one reason or another. They're run or controlled or powered by a proxy. These proxies, one per city, and the one at Rondo really becomes disillusioned with everything. Each one of these proxies love their cities, but they all, over the period of time that they've existed, have gotten some sort of dementia, some of them more severe than others. They tend to pair off, like the proxy for Rondo was in love with the proxy from Mosque. You probably didn't get that together, but Mono Proxy was the one that was running Rondo. And it got killed by Ergo Proxy. The problem with Ergo Proxy was that proxy, which we find out is Vincent, was so upset with the way his universe was, his city of Mosque was, he decided to remove his memory. He, by force of will, removed it and went instinctively to find Monoproxy, which was basically his mate. But in the process, not remembering, ended up killing her. The carcass that was left of Monoproxy, Daedalus decided, we're going to run all kinds of weird experiments on her, figure out what they're doing, how this works. He was able to make a weapon that could actually kill a proxy from it. But when their proxy's gone, their city eventually dies. So we're watching Rondo in the throes of dying. That's what this part of the story is about, is watching the collapse of the last of these established societies. Because when Vincent and Rial and Pino eventually take off trying to go find Mosque, they find city after city either wiped out or the people in them are dead and the proxies have gone insane. And you find out how strong Vincent or Ergo Proxy really is. None of them stand up to him. They just don't hold a candle to him. He is Proxy 1, basically, and Ergo Proxy in the same, but he split himself so that he could deal with the issues. It was just too much trouble with him. But eventually, and it doesn't take long in the story that you figure out there's something up with Vincent. He's not who he appears. And it's like 3 episodes in, you figure out, okay, he is Ergo Proxy.
But it isn't confirmed until like halfway through the series. It's like, you're like, I think he's it. But it's like they kind of keep you guessing. Because, I mean, it is a very... they keep you off balance. It's one of my favorite things about it, is they never let you feel like you've completely got it till the end. And so, and I mean, I love that. That's the essential for a great mystery.
Now, here's the only little plot hole that I could figure out with the whole story, because at the end, when you find out about Mayor, he was set up to be the guide or the ruler over Rondo by Vincent or by Proxy 1, basically the one that kept his memory. Because he split, you get to the end and it says the two that must become one. Well, he basically split himself. The one that remembered set him up to be the ruler of the place. However, Rondo's proxy was Monoproxy, not Ergo Proxy. So why didn't Mono set him up? You would think that it would be related, but that's the only plot hole that I figured out. Either that or I misunderstood it, and Mono was the one that came to Rondo instead of Vincent.
I thought they had brought the proxy from Mosque back to Rondo to try and fill in for their proxy. I thought that's why he was trying to reanimate Mono or Monad or whatever her name. That
yeah, it's a little complicated. I have to go back through with it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I kind of get lost in there, and so that's why this is me having Adega help me try and figure this out, because he's watched this a lot and it's his favorite. So it's like, I need somebody to help me figure that. So I figured if I need somebody, there's probably other people out there that need somebody to help fill them in on this too. So I mean,
well, they may have.
Go ahead.
They may have went out and captured Mono and brought her in to replace Vincent when he took off.
No,
I mean, that may be how it's set up. But he kept saying he was from the other place, which is called Mosque.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little confusing. I think it could have been done a little bit better there. But basically, the reason why I said it was important that you remember that Rial hated the place at the end as well. She starts debating in her own mind, because these proxies are there to run and keep these cities going. And of course, like I said, over time, they started going nuts. They couldn't figure things out. Why the people didn't like them, this, that, the other. And she figured that her wish, her strong desire, was what caused Vincent to come back and wipe things out, to set up the virus that turned all the auto raves free and started the cascade that was going to end all of the dome cities.
Mm-hmm.
She felt she was responsible for it. Whether or not she was, it doesn't matter either way, because there's like 2 or 3 different ways you can interpret it. Mm-hmm. One, Vincent or Mono Proxy or Ergo Proxy, the two together, decided that they're sick of this. The people don't appreciate him. They're going to wipe him out. Vincent couldn't handle it, so he separated himself to eliminate his memory and tried to find love inside the society from the people that he's been serving so long. But it didn't quite work out the way that he wanted. So there's several different ways to take it as to why everything got set up.
And it's almost like the ending to Clue. You could end this in several different ways or take different meanings from the ending depending on where you are in your life and stuff.
Right.
At least that's the way I felt. I was just like, man, you could really pull a lot of different, because there's a second Rial that's created by Daedalus. And I mean, that I got lost in that section right there. I'm just like,
yeah,
you created her. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah. Well, he did something stupid. He thought he could make himself a Rial because he was infatuated to the point of obsession with Rial. Mm-hmm. But in the process, he also used monoproxy, DNA engineering, what have you, to make this clone.
Mm-hmm.
And in the long run, monoproxy came out. That was that white angel at the very end.
Yeah.
So he basically
she sacrifices herself.
Right.
At the end.
So he didn't make a Rial. He made monoproxy in Rial's body. He reanimated her. And of course, monoproxy was in love with Proxy 1 or Ergo Proxy or Vincent. And Vincent had grown up. He grew out of this proxy phase. Yeah. And so he turned her down, said, you know what, I'm going for the real Rial. I'm going for what is left of humanity.
Yeah, and it's still, but I mean, I don't know, it still comes off as, but she doesn't like freak out. You know what I mean? She actually is like, okay, I see what it is, and then sacrifices herself to basically save everybody.
Right.
And stuff, or buy them time, I guess is maybe the best way to put it. And I mean, this right from that point to the end, it really starts to move hard and fast, and you have got to pay attention. And I've still got to go back through that again but I mean, still even when you're missing stuff, I mean, it makes you want more. It makes you want to go back and do this all over again to pick up the story. And, it's that good book that you can just pick up and read anytime. That's what this anime is. I mean, the art style, Like I said, it's very reminiscent to me of the Animatrix and some of the other different styles that are kind of more realized, I guess, human beings. They don't have the great big anime eyes and stuff that they get in a lot of different ones. But it's just, I don't know. You will be blown away by the visuals and the fighting sequences with Vincent and Proxy One, with Ergo Proxy. Anytime he shows up, you're just going to be like, your mouth's going to fall open. You're going to be sitting there going, this is so cool.
Yeah, the first time you figure it out, or at least they really tell you who he is he's on the shore just outside of Rondo, hanging out with these people in this camp. They're all rejects from Rondo, trying to live off of the trash that comes out of the city. And Rondo sends out these drones to attack them. He's on a cliff, falls off the cliff, and then you just see the edge of the cliff, and all of a sudden, whoosh, this thing bolts up from the ground. And that's Ergo Proxy. He switched into Ergo Proxy midair. And you just go, oh, okay, he has to be it. Mm-hmm. But no, he's incredible. All of the proxies are awesome, but they can't keep up with him.
Yeah. And the people that live outside, I mean, you get a very Blade Runner. I mean, as you're going through this, you're going to feel like you're in slightly different worlds. Like when you're inside Rondo, you're going to feel like you're in a very sterilized hospital kind of environment world. And then they go outside Rondo, and it is extremely dystopian, where there's this crazy guy who's been keeping everything running by kind of giving people false hope about going back to Rondo, or, making treaties with Rondo for better treatment. It's just, there's a lot of psychological storytelling happening here of what happens to human beings when they're in different situations, which I like that. I like things that go into what makes human beings and why we act the way we do. So there is quite a bit of that throughout this as well. The part where they're actually outside and they're on the solar sailor or the wind sailor, headed towards Mosque to try and figure out what's happening. And then Vincent meets up with Riel and Iggy out there, and they kind of join forces to go. It just, man, yes, Blade. Yes, Curtis, you just heard Blade Runner. All right. It's all right, Curtis. It's all good, buddy. It's all good. Yeah, arguing with it. Yeah, Egyptian people are. Yeah. No, but it is. It really does. You will get different feels through different parts of the show. There's so many kind of subplots happening and different people scheming, and you will just. And you kind of get sucked in to the psychology of this, and it does. It's one of those movies that makes you question everything about human beings, right? And question where you fit, why you live your life the way you do, and I like thought-provoking films and TV and stuff that does that. And this one, you can't just sit there with your mouth hanging open, going, you got to think, and. That's something that's very rare in entertainment these days.
Right. Just about every proxy that they run into have a different mental disorder. Mm-hmm. The one, he keeps his people in a animated, what do they call it? Not animated state, but they are
like basically a theme park.
No, not that one. Yeah, there's the theme park one where everyone has to be happy all the time. But no, this one is where they're in a stasis, all of them. And he figures, well, if we can keep them alive in stasis, that's how I show my love to them. They don't live their lives. They don't do nothing. They're just laying in suspended state. And there's the theme park one. Well, if everyone's happy all the time, then we're good. There's one where their society collapsed and they're at war with the Auto Raves and with their proxy, and they all get wiped out. Vincent is a big key to that. Mm-hmm.
Is that the
But
one
each
where
one's
it's like an idealistic kind of outdoor farm setting where the robots are running, but there's no people?
no, right,
I
right,
I'm trying to think of which
right,
one's which now, because he meets a lot of different ones on this trip to go.
right.
Um,
The one I thought that was the freakiest though was he runs into this place, nobody there, and they find all the supplies they need, having a good time going through the store and everything. But the proxy shows up and starts imitating him.
oh,
He
the
can imitate
doppelganger
Real.
proxy. Yeah.
Yes. And he imitates Vince and he plays them against each other
Mm-hmm.
and trying to kill them both. And it takes a while. You always see these things where they have the doppelganger, and it takes time to figure out whoever in the Japan who put this one together did it really, really well. Because you're always trying to figure out,
Yeah.
is this real? Is this one real? Is this one real? Wait, that one can't be real, but why is it doing this? Wait a second. And it's over and over, and you just got to hang on to your seat and watch it through. Because each one's a different type of mind game, and gosh, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It like I said, this is a brain bender all the way through. And in so many different aspects. Like I said, there's just a different group of psychology dealing with in almost every episode. And like I said, it makes you look inside who you are. And you will come out of this at the end of it going, one, I want to watch that again. I want some more of that. And then two, you'll be like, how am I living my life? How do I treat other people? How do I, it really makes you question things, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. And what would happen to us if our society did break down, or if we lived in the idyllic society of Rondo, would we actually be happy? Because here Real's got everything a person could want, and really isn't happy with it. I mean, but.
No, and at the very end too, there is the guy who is basically, he becomes not necessarily security chief, but he's high up. All the entourages have gone nuts. His is gone. She comes into his office and starts talking to him, and he's passing paperwork, writing things on the desk, acting like he's typing on things. There's nothing going on except he's nuts, absolutely nuts, because his autorave is gone. He can't function without his autorave.
But he's acting like she's still standing there doing everything.
Right.
Because he just can't. He doesn't, I just think every once in a while I'm like, how far are we from that when this people can't go without it for like 5 minutes? Like I've gone out to dinner with people, and we'll go into a restaurant, we'll sit down at the table, and they immediately pick up their phone and start doing this. And I'm just like, why the hell am I here with you? You're not even here. You're not actually you're physically here, but you're gone. Like you're not here at all. And I'm like, I don't know why we're having dinner right now. I'm looking at the back of your phone. It's
right.
There is a lot of parallels between what's happening in this story and life as we're seeing it right now. So it's very relevant.
You hit a point, because I was out with my handicapped son and my wife a couple days ago. We went to a Mexican restaurant. We sat down, and we go a little late at lunch. No one's there, but this mother and two kids came in, and they sat down, and instantly one of the phones was set. The kids are watching movies in a restaurant, loud sound. Mother turns on speakerphone, starts ordering new tires for her car. They're plugged in. They're not enjoying each other's company. They're not enjoying the environment. There was nothing about sitting down having a nice Mexican meal. I mean, these guys are really good too. For the middle of Wisconsin, it's the most impressive Mexican food I've had since I've been down in when I grew up in Southern California. I mean, serious was really, but that's not the point. The point was they weren't in the
phone
presence.
down and put some of this salsa in your mouth. It'll blow your mind.
Right. And they make the salsa fresh right there at the table too. It's just the kids didn't understand any of it. They weren't gaining anything from their mother. It was all a device. It was all an entourage.
There was a clip that somebody made a while ago, and it's a cartoonized clip, and it's people walking around just on their phones, and there's like a little kid that's watching these adults trying to get their attention, and man, I need to find that and just play it every once in a while on here just to wake, because it's scary. It's scary. Like, people are like walking down the street and they're all stuck in their phones, and like somebody jumps off a building and they all turn and just like take pictures of it, and it hits the ground and they all turn and just walk off like nothing. Like, the only thing that was important was taking the pictures of it. And it's like, really? Somebody just killed themselves in front of you, and that was all the emotion you had. But yeah, it is a very
everyone has seen those videos where someone's got their phone and they fall into a fountain or walk into a pole, because they're not looking up. But there was one story a few years back which was really sad. This guy had a seizure, fell in a pond. This is in England, in London. Fell into a little fountain, 4 inches of water, having a seizure. People had cameras. Instead of grabbing his shirt and pulling him out, he drowned because they would rather film it instead of saving his life. True story.
Yeah. It is very scary that we are, and that's what the thing is, like, people, it's happened so slowly over such a period of time that people don't even realize that we're actually becoming the dystopia that we were all scared of in the movies 20 years ago. It's like, it's here, but you guys haven't noticed that it's happening because you're stuck to your technology.
Right. And that's the nice thing about shows like this.
I grew up in an era before this happened, because I can kind of see it. And although I like my cell phone, I'm not in love with my cell phone. I can actually have relationships without it. I actually still know how to dial a phone and actually talk to somebody in person, rather than texting and tweeting. And I mean, I do text and tweet, but it's like, I'd much rather talk to somebody face to face. I'm still very much that way. So,
but you're right. This show really does make you think about these things.
Yeah.
It's a true story, though, Spartan. A true story. And the funny part about it is, because they figured biohazard, the fire department came and they took a ladder and laid it across the fountain. Instead of just reaching in and pulling the body out because they were too late, they laid this thing out. They crawled out over the water with sterile gloves, had to wrap the guy up and pull him out. It was complete idiocracy. London was it made me really, really upset, frustrated, mad at all the different things. But yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah.
Oh, something I wanted to bring up too. That picture that you have, those little M's that are in the air.
Oh, uh-huh.
You know what those are?
I was thinking those were the drones that were...
No. At the very end, after monoproxy goes up and basically burns up in the sky opens up, the project is finished, Earth is healing, the humans come back, the real humans. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, see, I've got to watch it again because I would have missed. Now that you say that, I remember it, but yeah, that's one of those things that I need to watch again to see it happen. But I don't know if, and we'll wind down here, but did you like the episode that was the game show?
At first, I thought it was weird, but then it made sense later on. I mean, because, it's all a mind game.
Yep.
But it was giving you clues after clues after clues of what's going on. You just didn't know it. And it was one of those...
It's giving exposition in a clever and insightful way. That's what I liked about it.
Right.
It's trying to help you understand the story without going, all right, here it is. It's a clever way of still playing that mind game, but giving you the information that you may have missed.
And here's the thing, too, is it's not mindless television. This one, not only are you enjoying it, you have to use your brain.
Yes.
To get the whole story. If you want it, it makes you work. It's that's what I loved about it. I really hate watching these documentaries on TV. You go to the History Channel or something, and they tell you about 5 minutes worth of information. You go to commercial, then they spend the next 3 minutes telling you what you just saw, and to give you another minute of information after that. Then you go to another commercial. By the time you watch an hour show, there is maybe 10 minutes of information. The rest of it is repeating itself over and over again, like you're stupid.
Yeah.
I hate those shows.
Yeah.
I hate those shows.
See,
This one doesn't do that to you.
No, if you miss it, you have to go back on your own and pick it up later because, like, they're moving ahead. It's just you got to think this through and you've got to figure out stuff. It's one of the reasons the first time I remember seeing The Matrix in the theater, I remember walking out thinking that. I mean, it's just like you've had to be paying attention through that film, and it was cool. There were a lot of but all of the special effects and everything for how cool they were. It was integral and part of the story, as where special effects now just seem to be like it's just some icing we put on there to sugar everything up to cover up all the crap that's underneath and stuff. And that's one thing I did like about The Matrix was that you had to think, you had to try and pay attention to what was going on. I mean, and that one's kind of a hit or miss, but I mean, I like movies that make me think and that I have to pay attention through them, or films or TV shows or whatever, or books. Speaking of books, Dr. Adega is an author. Make sure you go and check out his books. Evolution. How many of them are still in print right now, Adega?
None. If you find them, it's nothing. But still working on having this year Evolution re-released with several different added things. I'm actually getting a foreword in it by someone who really likes my work, who is someone that all of you would know that is very famous.
Cool.
So it'll have, I'm pretty excited about it because this person has read it and says it's awesome, and I just was floored because getting that from this person meant more than pretty much everybody else when it comes to influence anyway. I appreciate people liking it. And I was telling you this before, all of my books are, people seem to really, really like them. I haven't had anyone say that they didn't like it. Some people absolutely love it, everything. But for me, they're all rushed because I'm not exactly well, and eventually I won't be able to write, and I'm trying to get all this out. And I started it off as a project for my kids to let them know each person in every one of these books, every single character is based on a real person that I've known, whether in my office when I was a chiropractor, someone I grew up with, people in my family, friends. Like I had a friend who passed away 2 weeks ago. Well, it's about 2 weeks ago. His name is, in the books, Bob Blee. You don't get him until you get into Revolution and then Resolution, and he's also in Echoes of Nor. But that was my friend. He's there in the books, except he was the toughest, strongest Marine you'll ever know. But the personality, his devotion, his dedication, that's there. That he's there. Everyone in them is just people that I've known. So anyway, give it a few months. Hopefully a little less, and there'll be something for you to, if you're really interested, you can go out and get it.
Cool. Also, he's also doing, in fact, just preceding what my show is today, he releases a chapter. The book that he is currently putting out is the Olganza Witches. Olganza. Gosh dang it, I say that wrong almost every single time.
I love the fact that you have a hard
know you
time
love it
with
when I mess up on that, but it's the Olganza Witches.
Yeah.
He is doing that right now, and he premieres a chapter every week at it's 5:30 my time, 6:30 Central. But you should go and check that out. Go back, catch up if you're not up with us right now on which chapter we're on. Go back, catch up, give him a watch, subscribe to his channel. It is excellent. His books are fantastic. Right.
I appreciate that.
I, as a truck driver, I've listened to a lot of them while I was driving down the road, and they are truly excellent. And he does a really great job at reading. So,
question for you: which one do you like more, Children of the Directive or the Blood Witch?
Oh, I'd almost have to say Children of the Directive. Just because the kind of the subject matter that you dealt with in that one. The basically like the abuse of the children and conditioning them to, I mean, it's just, I don't know what that story spoke to me in a way, but I mean, I love the Blood Witch too. I mean, because I'd sit there and comment on every chapter when you were putting those out on, I'm like, I love this chapter, and stuff. But I mean, they're both excellent. But I think Children of the Directive pulled me in just maybe a hair more. So
that's the PG-13. The Blood Witch is mostly PG-13, but there's a few times when it gets pretty bloody.
Yeah. Yes.
We call her a Blood Witch for a reason.
They're both just, and to be complete, and they're completely different genres, absolutely completely different genres. And it blows me away that you have that ability to jump between and make great stories in a fantasy story, and then jump and do science fiction. Because a lot of people, a lot of authors, they get kind of locked into a niche, and that's really all they do. And the fact that you've been able to jump between those kind of things is just impressive in my mind.
Well, the new one I have to focus on really hard. I released the prologue, is called The Reach, and I can't, behind the scenes, you have no idea how many people are just all over this thing. Seriously, it has lit a fire in so many people. I have to get on it, because it's a fresh idea. I think it's
different than any stories you've told so far.
Right. It's completely different. Yeah, and like I said, within a week's time, Co.he, my friend Alan over there, had 4 songs written for it. All he got was the prologue, and he said it just hit him the right way. There's other people that said, what, I've written poems, doing artwork, and I'm just going, I gave him a prologue, what the heck? But it really has struck a nerve with people. Not a nerve, but struck a heartstring with people. So I have to get on that, and it's already in my head. I just have to get it out. It might be a big one. It might be a big one, because I'm telling the story from 2 different perspectives, 2 different people in 2 entirely different dimensions. Did we lose Speaker? He's froze. Well, either way, that's enough of that until he can come back and join us. The other thing too is shortly. Am I the one who's froze? Someone put something in the chat. Let me know. Maybe I'm the one who's froze. Okay. The other thing, and again, this is the last thing I'll do about talking about myself, then we'll get back into the story until Speaker gets back, is Top Fives. You guys need to subscribe to them. They're going to be releasing one of my scripts soon. They do a bunch of, he's gone. Let's see if he pops back in.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. Okay, I was looking at the regular chat. I noticed that smile lasted just a little too long.
Free.
He had a big grin, and I'm just going, oh, he's excited. Wait, something's wrong over there. He's either constipated or frozen.
I'm sorry. My internet has been so stupid lately, so I apologize. But
You're not roboting now. This is perfect. This is the best it's been the whole stream.
Oh, the figure.
Now I jinxed it.
It's going to start going any second.
Right.
But no, yeah. So yeah, what were you saying last? Because
I was just the last thing before we're going to get back.
Gone.
Right, just before I was going to get back to the finishing up with Ergo, was I was just telling him about Top Fives. Do you know about that? Top Fives is they have on one channel, because they got several channels, 3.4 million subscribers. They contacted me and they said, hey, we've seen your stuff. we want you to write for us. So now I write scripts for them too. And one of mine should be coming out soon. I don't know how soon. So I do stuff for them now too.
Oh, nice. No, I every time I get the chance to talk about your stuff, I hope that you get all the success that you deserve for what you're trying to do. Like I've told you before, I hope someday somebody gets a hold and makes an anime of the Blood Witch. I think that would be fantastic. I think
anime would probably be the best way to do it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm a huge anime fan, but I mean, the way that they could do that. I mean,
yeah, they wouldn't hold back either.
No, they'd let us have it, both barrels.
They would let the story be the way I wrote it.
So,
yep.
I mean, I don't know. If you have not subscribed, or if you've not read his stuff, or have not listened to his videos where he does, chapter breakdowns and stuff, go subscribe to Adega. You will not be sorry that you did. It is definitely worth it. I want to thank you so much, my friend and my brother, for being here with me today to talk about this anime, and for turning me on to it, because I'd seen it pop up for a couple of years, but it was one I just never clicked on yet. And so when you gave it your recommendation, I'm like, oh, and I went and watched it that week. So that's how much I trust Dr. Adega. Everybody, when Adega says something's good, I go watch it.
We're just brothers talking. In every sense of the word.
In every sense of the word. But no, thank you guys for being here this week. Lady Miss, Spartan, Curtis YZ, everybody else who popped in this week. If you've not watched this, go watch Ergo Proxy. Go subscribe to Adega. And you will not be sorry that you went and got involved in any of this stuff. Next week, I'm going to change just a little bit from what I was planning on doing. I'm going to do something that may be a little controversial for people. Next week, I will not be doing a stream on an anime. I'm going to cover Twilight. So,
you're a sick man.
The good, the good, the bad. I mean, I want everybody's opinions on what drove them to this, drove them away from it, why they care, don't care. Because I'm a fan of the books. When the movies came out, I was so disgusted by what they did and stuff. But I mean, it's just like I might be the only one in here talking for all the excitement Twilight might bring. But it's something I wanted to talk about for a while because I feel like the films just obliterated the
it wasn't
ideas.
worth watching. I watched it once and I said, no, I can't watch anymore. But you say the books are good, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's I liked the books, but I'm a vampire fanatic. I love anything vampire related. And she tried to do something a little different with this. And some of it worked and some of it didn't, but I thought, the way she wrote it was pretty good. It was just what they did with it in Hollywood was not okay. The
Sparkly
books
vampires.
And see the way it's described in the book, I'm like, when they actually showed it in them, I was like, oh good Lord, that is not. I'm like, no. It's like they were supposed to be sparkly in a way that was creepy, that would make human beings instantly recognize that they were other, they were different, they were not human beings. And I'm like, oh, it looks like you put a bunch of glitter on him.
It probably also took effort. Yeah. It took effort too to make sure that the actors showed as little emotion as possible.
Well, they got two great actors to do it, Robert Pattinson,
absolutely,
and the Plank, as people call her now. I mean, just they had one facial expression through that. I mean, seriously, the movies ruined those books. And so I want to talk about that next week, and we'll kind of go in and out about that. Like I said, and if you don't like it, come and tell me why. Come and tell me just, I hate it every moment, and because of this and this and this, But yeah, so it's going to be just kind of an open season. whichever way, we'll be doing it at 5:00 next Sunday. All the Twilight books, you can talk about any one of them you want. You can talk about like another series of vampire books that made you feel like, no, Twilight was bad because they could have done this and they didn't. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing. But thank you guys for being here, and we will talk to you next Sunday. Thanks, everybody.
What a bunch of hippy dippy baloney.